Hey guys, Whitney here. Welcome to today's boot camp. This is going to be our goal setting retreat for 2024. And so I'm super excited to have you guys here joining me today. We are going to go fast and furious through several different exercises that I think will be really powerful for you to, if you haven't already, if you didn't join us last year, it's kickstart your goal setting process for 2024. If you did join us last year, we are going to build upon that. So we're going to do some, a couple of the same exercises, but actually a couple different exercises to really help kickstart our movement through how do we build and craft and scale a passive real estate portfolio. Now, if you guys don't know me already, my name is Whitney Elkins-Hutten, and I am the Director of Investor Education here at PassiveInvesting.com. And this is the whole reason why I invest in real estate. Me and my crazy crew here, we love hanging out together and traveling the world. We try to work and play as much as possible remotely. This is us in Sedona, Arizona last year. We love spending time in away from Colorado just as much as we like spending time in Colorado. But one of the things that allowed us to do this was scaling our real estate portfolio, and most importantly, our passive real estate portfolio. And I started off living, flipping, and house hacking in 2002. Scaled a portfolio of single family rentals, and then transitioned into a general partnership on some multifamily buildings. And then, all of this in service with how can I possibly get my time back, my choice on how I spend my time back and create that impact in the world. And path forward today, in partnership, I have personally over 6,500 units, 2,200 self-storage units, and several other passive assets. But really, again, all this is feeding one result. Okay, I talk about the 5 freedoms in life. I'm going to talk about we're going to talk about those today. But this is allowing me to have 100% choice on how I spend my time. I know people say they scale their portfolio, they want financial freedom, they want time freedom. Really, what I feel like most people want is actually they want a choice. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to have a choice on what they do. And so that is what we've been able to achieve together here as a family. And this is something we can help you do personally here at PassiveInvesting.com. These are just some of our amazing stats. We're now at over $252 million loan through our rehab wallet lending arm. We have a $1.4 billion and growing portfolio value. And amongst our 8 full cycle returns or full cycle assets, we've had some strong returns for our investors as well. All right. Let's dive in to our goal setting retreat because I have us scheduled for about an hour together here today. I want to make sure that I leave plenty of time for questions because this is an interactive workshop. This is not just me presenting to you. I'm going to ask questions and I'm going to really want you to participate alongside with me in the Q&A box, in the chat box, okay? But anything that we tap in today, if you feel like it's financial, legal, or tax advice, please don't construe it as that. It's education. Take all these concepts and make sure to consult with your investing team before making any investment decision. All right, let's kickstart with kind of what I consider one of the grounding mindsets that we have to have as we start sitting down and looking at our goals. And that is, and I already alluded to this a little bit earlier, like money, having money is not the destination. Money is just a tool to help you get what you want. All right. So when people say, I help them craft their goals and they say, I want financial freedom. Okay. Initially on its surface, that means they want a whole bunch of money. But what do they want the money to do? Like, what does that money need to do for them? Okay. So we need to get very, very clear here. And that's what we're going to do with this Kickstart. And this is where I'm going to invite you to go into the Q&A box, to go in the chat box. Guys, all this information just comes to me, but I want you to participate alongside me here. in this process. Okay, we're going to co-create. So the first thing that, in order to get us very clear, we need to understand, how do you view the world? Okay, this is very critical. All right. Do you view the world through a lens of scarcity or abundance? I want you to go over to the Q&A box and the chat box right now. Okay. Tell me, do you view the world from a place of scarcity, that you don't have enough, there's not possibly enough? Or are you just thinking there's abundance in the world, that if you work hard enough, you could possibly create that for yourself? Let's see. Abundance, free flowing. I love it. Abundance, amazing. I would challenge. I think I'm going to be really open and transparent with you guys. I would say when I first started my journey, I had a really hard time with this. I kind of ebbed and flowed. One foot would be into scarcity, and then the other foot would be into abundance. And it's when I stood in abundance more and became a steward with my money, took full ownership. If we borrow a term from Jocko Willings, extreme ownership on how I crafted my portfolio, knowing that the world was happening for me, not to me. That is when the door started opening up. But I will tell you, I'm going to let you know a little bit of a secret here. I would not be shocked if people ebbed and flowed between these two emotions. Okay. At any given point in time during their year, during the month, during the week, maybe even during the day. But when we can stand in our view of the world and continue to look through it from a lens of abundance, doors are going to open up for us. I love it. Somebody, said free flowing. That's what we want. Traditionally, I've lived in scarcity, looking for a set point of abundance. Okay. This is something that we have to train, because if you read the news, if you're scrolling Facebook, you're getting pummeled with scarcity all over the place. Okay. One of the most important things that I ever did was remove social media from my phone. I don't have it. I honestly try not to read the news either. So I try to the news finds me. Okay. It's really hard to get fully disconnected in this world. All right. Let's move on to question number 2. Again, we're on this journey of getting incredibly clear, and clarity is power. It's potential power for us. I ask you, what do you want? As you look into, and I don't mean what do you want for 2024? In the next 5 years, I want you to go to the chat box. I want you to go to the Q&A box, and I want you to tell me, what do you want your life to look like? Let's paint this picture. Okay. And then I want you to understand what that vision is going to be for yourself in 5 years. Do not try to step into solving how you're going to get there. Please do not do that. Okay. It's super challenging. I know for me, most of us, to not start trying to solve for the how. Like I want to have complete control on how I spend my time, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. And so you shrink. Okay. Remember, we're stepping into that world of abundance, but then we immediately pull back when we try to figure out how to get it done. And that can lead to scarcity. Okay. I want you to open your mind. What do you want? We got people saying, I want financial stability, generational wealth. Ooh, I got a little tool for you guys coming up here in a little bit. I want to share with you. What else do you guys want? Okay, there's more than just 2 people on this webinar, guys. What do you guys want? And you think in 5 years, what do you want? What do you want life to look like? Picture your day. Where are you living? When you open up your windows after you get out of bed, what are you looking at? Okay. Where are you working? What does your office look like? Are you working? Okay. Do you travel? Do you not travel? Okay. What does your day look like? How many hours are you working? Paint that picture. Get abundantly clear. Okay. Because the next question is, staying along this line of what do you want? Now that you've understood what you kind of want your day to look like in 5 years, even get down to like, how are you dressed? Now we pull it back to 3 years. In order to be on track for 5 years, where do you need to be in 3? Okay. You can think about that for a moment. And then when we think about where you want to be in 3 years, okay, only looking at that 3 year mark, pull it back again. Where do you need to be by the end of 2024 to be on track for that 3 year mark? And this is super important. If you follow any of the work by Gary Keller, Jay Papasan, this is called goal setting to the now, right? We pass that vision into the future, okay? And then we start pulling it back, right? Because if we try to create our to-do list, create our the things we're going to focus on based on that 10-year vision, it's really hard. We get lost, okay? We pull back. We don't know how we're going to get all done. But we can pass that vision at the 3 year mark and then pull it, and then recast it at the 1 year mark, knowing that if we just did those things in 1 year, we would be on track for 3. And if we hit the 3 year mark, we're going to be on track for that 5 year vision, right? It's like eating an elephant, okay? The old question. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay. Sorry for anybody here that's a vegetarian or a vegan. But anyways, long story short, that's what we're trying to get to. Get very clear on what you want. Okay. Dare to dream too. All right. The next exercise, and guys, these are things that I encourage you to sit with and write these questions down and continue to pummel through these questions over the next few weeks, few months, and get really crystal clear on this. Okay, this is not a one or done. All right, if you get it done today in 1 hour, awesome. But I anticipate it's going to be a circular process. Question number 2, why do you want what you want? Okay, so there's 2 ways we can approach this. One, we can dive into that freedom. We can really dive into what we call the 7 layers of why to really get crystal clear on that freedom that you're trying to tackle. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do is attach an emotion. Okay. For somebody who says, I want financial stability in 5 years, okay, we need to attach an emotion to it. Okay. Your initial emotion is going to be probably you're trying to escape something or avoid a pain, right? I want financial stability because I don't want to, ever feel compromised by if I get let go from my job or something like that. I'm just painting an example here. But we need to know what you're kind of running towards, what that north light is, okay, that North Star, okay, and it's going to be one of those freedoms. So why do you want what you want? All right. And then when like Tony Robbins in his Ultimate Power Within program, he has this exercise called the 7 layers of why. So if somebody wants financial stability, why do you want that? Well, I want that because, I feel like my expenses are a little chaotic right now. Great. Why do you want to stabilize your expenses? Well, I've been operating from a fear of scarcity. Well, why do you want to eliminate the fear of scarcity, right? So you're constantly digging in, and almost every single time when I work with a client, they're going to land on one of those 5 freedoms that they're trying to achieve. And we'll talk about those in a minute. And those freedom is usually what somebody is after, is that freedom of choice. They just want to have choice on how they spend their time. Okay. Now that we understand kind of what you want, right? Looking at that 5 year vision, pulling it back to where do you need to be on track for 3 years to get to the 5 years? What do you need to have done by the end of 2024 to be on track for year 3, which would put you on track for year 5? All right. Who do you have to become to get this? Right? So in order to get financial stability, who do you have to become? In order to get financial abundance, who do you have to become? All right? What mindsets do you need? Right? What skills do you need? What networks do you need? Okay, I want you to jot those down right now. You guys go over to the chat box and Q&A box. When you think of what you want, especially what you need in the next year to be on track for your 5-year goal, what mindsets do you need to adopt? What skills do you need to have? What person or persons can you bring into your world that would open up doors for you? Go to the Q&A box, go to the chat box, take a minute and let me know. A couple of people just joined us live. I'm challenging everybody when they think of what they want for 2024 to be on track for their 5-year goals. What mindset do you need to adopt? Are you trapped in a fixed mindset, a scarcity mindset? Do you need to adopt a growth mindset? Okay. Is there something that you need to level up there? What skills do you need? Okay. This is the interaction, guys. Help me out here. What skills do you need to adopt? Do you need to learn how to vet operators, markets, and deals? Do you need to learn how to evaluate risk? Do you need to learn more about taxes and legal? What skills do you need to have? And then what networks? Who do you need to bring into your world in order to make what you want to have happen at the end of 2024 have happen? Okay, somebody said, I need a mentor. I need investors. Awesome. Okay. There's also another approach for those of you who are business owners, okay, or you don't have to be a business owner. I mean, everybody here should be, if you're investing passively in real estate, you do own a business, okay? Your portfolio holdings is your business, okay? Maybe you have one of those abundance problems where you have too many investments and you don't know how to like juggle this. Like you don't know how to monitor everything. Maybe you need help build the skill of tracking your portfolio. Maybe you need to bring a virtual assistant in to your world to help you do that. Because if you could spend less time tracking, now you could spend more time finding deals. Let's see. I need an abundance mindset, amazing business development skills, and an increased local business network. I love it. I need to determine my strengths and focus on those. Awesome. And again, I would challenge that. Also think about, do you need to find your strengths, right? Focus on those. And for those areas that aren't your strength, let's take it one step further. Who can you bring into your world to help offset that? Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Now we're going to create some alignment. All right. We are getting clear. Right. Question number one, what do we want? We're going to cast that 5-year vision. We're going to bring it back to the now, thinking what we need to do in year 3. What do we to be on track for year 5? What we're going to do in year 1 to be on track for year 3. Okay. Year 1 being 2024. Okay. We talked about the why, right? Somebody just chimed in here. My why is I want to, to figure out how to get this financial stability because I've lived through a financial crisis and I don't want to have that happen again. That's so powerful. Okay. Who do they need to become to get that? They need to develop the skills in order to evaluate deals. That is something that we can help you do here through the Passive Investing Made Simple bootcamps. All right. All right. And then question number 3 was understanding who do you need to become to get it? Mindset, skills, networks. Okay. Those can be your own. And if you are going to focus on your strengths, then the areas that you need to develop, find a who, bring that who into your world. Okay. That is a shout out to the book, Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. That is a very powerful read. All right. Now we're going to create alignment here. Okay, so alignment, I love this quote by Tony Robbins, success without a fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So we scale this massive portfolio of massive holdings, but then we're not fulfilled. We don't know when, enough's enough, or we don't know how to live into this area of abundance for ourselves. Remember, the money is just a tool, okay, to help us get what we want. Okay, the money is not the end all be all thing. Okay, what we're doing with this money, how are we going to be ultimately fulfilled? Okay, so I like to first define what is happiness, and I will be the first to admit I think pursuing happiness like as its own end is going to be really challenging. But it's kind of like shoot for the moon, land in the stars, right? Happiness is an emotional state characterized by feelings of joy, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment. Who doesn't want to at least feel those types of emotions every single day, right? We can think of pleasure, gratification, embodiment of your strengths and virtues. And then we can also think of it in terms of meaning and purpose. So it's not just happiness. Like, do you have a smile on your face and is your heart beaming? No. What does happiness mean to you? I want you to think about that. Which of these words on the screen resonate with you? Is it joy, satisfaction, contentment, fulfillment? Is it pleasure? Is it strength, virtue? Is it meaning, purpose? Because every one of us is going to have a different definition. Go to the chat box and the Q&A box. I want to know what happiness means to you. Maybe you have a different word that's not on this page, but I challenge you, I want you to put that down and start kind of naming that emotion. If you haven't figured it out here, I think I really truly believe taking an emotion and attaching it to a goal and what you're trying to do is one of the most powerful things that you could possibly do for yourself. Because how many times does your gut give you the first indication that whatever you're doing, you're kind of off track, right? And it's because our gut can sense our emotions. It's way better than sensing our emotions in our brain. Okay. Go to the chat box and let me know which one or two or three of these words would you like to play around with as far as your kind of definition of happiness. Happiness means to me being plugged in and engaged in meaningful ways. I love that. Calm like an easy Sunday morning. Ooh, I love that. I love that. For me, I have one word. That was my word for 2024. My word was, or 2023, it was light. Okay. I needed everything to feel light. I needed to feel lighter in my body. I needed, the room to be lighter as far as like not as heavy furniture in the room. I needed literally the window, more light to be let into the world in my space. So that all, those are the type of words and emotions we're trying to attach here. Okay. Now I'm going to lead you through a series of questions and we're going to culminate into what I call the happiness formula. Okay. And again, this happiness, it's not meant to, you can substitute that word with whatever, adjective you want to that really fills your heart. But these questions are meant to get there, help you get there. If, in 5 years, okay, if you think in this future vision, what are your non-negotiables? I want you to write these down. For me, my non-negotiables are, I don't like working nights and weekends. I want to spend time with family. I want to be with friends. Now I go to conferences. I want to have the choice if I work nights and weekends. For me, I like, being able to, whatever I do, I have to be able to pick it up and it has to be mobile. It has to be able to travel with me. What are your non-negotiables? Go to the Q&A box and write those down. Maybe you are only going to work 25 hours a week or 30 hours a week. In 5 years, that is a non-negotiable. You're not going to do that anymore. Maybe you're no longer going to travel for like your boss. Maybe your non-negotiable if you own a business is you're only going to work in the business 1 week a month. Okay. What are your non-negotiables? Go and write that down. Because again, if we know what you want to envision, then you can start pulling it back and start creating that life for you right now. Take a moment, write those down. Okay. The next question is, again, what we're trying to do is create space. We're trying to get you to state your non-negotiables. Okay, so you can work towards that ideal life. All right. Most people, when I start off the question, I kickstarted us, what do you want in 5 years? Most people are like, deer in headlights. I don't know. And I'm like, what are your non-negotiables? Like, what do you not want in 5 years? And they're like, oh, you got a list? How much time do you have? Right? They can tell me those things. Okay. So we want to approach this from two different ways and then pull it all together. Non-negotiables. I don't want to move again. I don't want to be responsible for keeping all the details covered. Totally. Okay. Give it really crystal clear on what that to do is, that repetitive to do is, and put that in your non-negotiables. This next question is, what do you need to let go of in order to create space now in 2024? Maybe you look at your calendar. Maybe you've got some commitments. Okay. Maybe you've made some promises to some people. Okay. Maybe there's some toxic people in your world, toxic friends. Okay. Maybe you might have some investments that you're just like, ooh, I wish I had never made that investment. I would like to see, like, if I can move that off my plate. I was working with one of my coaching clients yesterday. She's got a reinvestment that's in her portfolio. She was like, gosh, if I could just get this puppy off my plate right now, I would be so amazed. Like, I would free up so much of my mind share. Maybe you've got things laying around the house. Okay. Bunch of broken stuff, things that you've been meaning to donate. Okay. Make a list of all these things that you can let go of to create space. Now, I'm not asking you to actually execute on this list, but I want you to list everything out. And the reason why it's important is because now, over the next few weeks, you can start renegotiating each one of these points. Okay. So we can open up space. So now you can go do the things that we're going to tackle in the rest of today's sessions. Okay. Okay. Also, these things will open up mind share for you. Okay. Brain space. All right. Now let's dive into the happiness formula. This is something it's the holidays. This is one of my favorite exercises to do with my family. We call it a dream session. Okay. I don't call it a happiness formula with my family. I used to call it a happiness formula session with my family, and they kind of like looked at me like I had a third eye. But I'm like, ooh, let's dream. 11-year-old was all about it. She was like, yeah, let's do that. Let's dream. Let's dream what we could do, where we wanted to go. So take a snapshot of this, and I challenge you to sit down with you do this for yourself. Okay, experience this, and then do it with a spouse, and then do it with or a partner, and then do it with your kids if you have kids. But the formula goes like this, is that really these three areas, what we experience, how we grow, or how we build momentum in our life, and how we give back, are the three areas that provide 90% of whatever that happiness emotion is for you. Joy, gratification, meaning, purpose. Okay. These three pillars feed into that. Now, for somebody, they might be really weighted on the experiences and a little less so on the contribution. Somebody else might be like, oh, I am all about building nonprofits. I want to give back. That's where my heart center is. And then, they have other things in the momentum and experiences. And that's going to differ from person to person. But I challenge you to sit down. When we discuss experiences, I want you to list out all those things that you would want to do that would put a smile on your face, okay? Make you feel that emotion that you want to feel. And I want you to come up with like 4 or 5 things that you can do just like randomly on a weeknight at a drop of a hat, having dinner with friends, or maybe there's a local, dinner theater that you like going to, something that's pretty easy. Then I want to have you think about things nationally. Are there places that can go, neighboring town, neighboring state, maybe across the country? And then think, if you like traveling internationally, write those things down that you'd like to do internationally. Okay, what are those experiences? All right, write those down. Then we think about growth. Okay, this isn't just personal development, right? It can be, again, the mindset, the skills, that network. What are those things that you need to have in your world to achieve those 2024 goals that you're having, with what you want in 2024? Remember, we're building, what you can achieve at the end of 2024. That's going to help you build for what you want in 3 years, and then again, what you want in 5 years. But what do you need to do? Is there a book you need to read? Is there a class that you need to take about mindset? Do you need to like level up with your skills somehow? Do you need to attend a workshop? Do you need to start going to some sort of event or conferences to build your network, right? Put those in the growth bucket. Okay. This is growth, personal development, momentum. What are those things that are going to help you build momentum? All right. And then the last column is about contribution. All right. We can give back in one of 3 ways. It can be with our time. Okay. It can be with our money. It can also be with our knowledge. All right. A lot of what I do with you guys here through the masterclass and also through these boot camps is contribution through knowledge. All right. And so I also challenge you, it doesn't have to be like I'm donating 20 hours a week to junior achievement or to Habitat to Humanity. It doesn't have to be that grandiose. It can also be, prioritizing a family board meeting with your a child, and helping them cultivate, relationship skills, financial skills, interpersonal skills, right? Like, for me, in my contribution column, family board meetings with my daughter. Okay, quarterly family board meetings with my daughter, go in there because I know if I can impact her, it's going to be exponential impact into the community. Right. So take a moment, write some of those things down. Again, do this for yourself, do it with your spouse, do it with a partner. You can even do this with business partners, do it with your kids. Once you get this flushed out, okay, again, we want to also now think what's going to support you in this area. Okay. What type of environment do you need to build at home? It can be with your personal health, with your mental health. It can be physically how your home is put together, how your work office is put together, right? What kind of peers and mentors do you need to bring into your world? Somebody that was responding here, they said what they need, okay? Who do they need to become? They need mentors and investors. That's who they need to meet. Okay, that would go right here under people. All right. And then again, very, very much leveraging this network. Okay. We can, this is mostly for your personal development, but that network, who's the who you can bring into your world to make this all happen. When I did this exercise last year, I was so heavily on the who. I realized I needed to bring in a lot of leverage support to help me keep my home organized so I could open up my mind share and write this book that I have with bigger pockets that I'll tell you about here at the end. And do more of my heart-centered work with, passiveinvesting.com, with ashwealth.com, my private mentoring group. All right. So I had to lean, 2023 was all about me leaning hard into my environment, but also creating that leverage, that support, and bringing who's in my life so I could achieve all these things that I wanted with my goals. Okay. All right. So now that we kind of got that, now we're going to get into the brass tacks, the numbers, right? We talked about what do we want? Why do we want it? Who do we need to become to get it? We went through a couple exercises to help you clear out, or at least name what you needed to clear out to create mind share, create space, okay, physical space, mental space, so you can now redivert that time and energy on aligning to what makes you happy, okay, but also creating space so you can go out and do more deals, okay, actively, passively, right? We're freeing things up, right? Now we need to talk about those 5 different numbers that you need to know. Now, everybody here is going to be on a different phase of this journey. Some people, based on your responses, are more on the financial security side of the journey. Other people are more on the financial abundance side of the journey. So hang with me because everybody needs to know all 5 of these stages, because you need to know specifically if you've cleared, when you clear one stage and when you get to go to another. All right. So the ultimate quote that I have here is, if you don't have a plan for your money, I guarantee somebody else does. All right. So let's get really crystal clear on what the freedoms are and what the plans are to achieve these five freedoms. Now, I've been talking about 5 freedoms of life: financial freedom, time freedom, choice freedom, location independence, and freedom to create an impact. All right. We are going to focus specifically on the financial freedom piece here. And on this financial freedom path, there's actually 5 steps. Okay. There's financial security, financial vitality, financial independence, and financial freedom, and then absolute freedom. If any of you here are followers of Tony Robbins, you're very familiar with this process, but I want to take everybody through it. So the first stop, when you start thinking about like, I want financial independence or financial freedom, it's you actually have to get to the point, the milestone here is financial security, all right? So if we're going to put numbers to this, you have to have enough cash to cover all of these expenses for 1 year. Okay, so this can be cash flow coming in, or it can be money in the bank already, like a savings account. And really, what you're trying to do is just keep people alive. That's what financial security is. Okay, roof over the head, food on their table, keep them warm. Okay, transportation so you can continue to go to and from your job, and then health insurance so you can keep or different types of insurances so you can keep everybody happy, or happy and healthy, I should say. And for most people in the US, that takes about $45,000 annually. Okay, I would imagine that's gone up a little bit, with inflation, probably closer to $48,000 or $50,000 annually to keep, all these things covered. But again, financial security, if you've got, a chunk of money in the bank, say $50,000, for your household, and you have all these expenses covered for a year, you're probably financially secure. Okay, you may not feel that, right? But you are. All right. So we can move on to the next stage, and this is vitality. All right. And this is where you have enough cash to cover these expenses for 1 year. So everything that you need from financial security, and then half of what you normally spend on your clothing bill, dining bill, entertainment, and some small indulgences. So if you think about it, this means that you can have like a little bit of frill in your life. Okay, a little bit, you start, living a little bit more, but the cash after 1 year would run out. All right. So, but this means that you have a level of vitality. All right. Most people that I work with actually don't recognize that this is a step here, and then that is a huge milestone and achievement for them that they should celebrate. Because so many people are looking to go from 0 to financial independence or 0 to financial freedom. And that again is a huge thing, much like we were talking about in our 5-year visioning part of our goal setting retreat. That is a huge, huge undertaking to make that mental leap. So we need to put these mileposts along the way. And then we got our financial independence. All right. This is where your investments generate enough cash flow to live your current quality of life, adjusting for inflation without ever having to work again. Okay. Things that you would probably add in here are going to be your travel. So you're paying for all of your clothing, you're paying for all of your small indulgences, and you're probably adding in a little bit of family adventure here. All right. How people get to this number, what's their milestone, what they need to consider financial independence is to take what you're currently spending now. That's your current lifestyle. All right. That's a good number to kind of target for this. That's different from what most people, how they approach financial independence and financial freedom. They actually think about it in terms of what they're making. All right, total of what they're making, which is probably very different than what they're actually spending. Okay. So 9 times out of 10, I find that people actually are much closer to financial independence than they actually give themselves credit for, because a lot of people that I work with are mad at saving. They save like incredibly well. So again, make sure that we're calculating these milestones correctly. Now, I want you to notice one thing here. We did make a big leap. Our vitality section, we're talking about cash in the bank to cover these expenses for 1 year, meaning after a year, if you didn't replenish the supply, the financial vitality is gone. Here, when you hit financial independence, you have enough cash flow coming in from your assets, either repeated monthly cash flow or repeated sales of your asset to cover your ongoing lifestyle. All right. Now, if we're going to make the leap to financial freedom, this is where we start having to think more about abundance, because this is where our investments are generating enough cash flow to live our ideal life plus inflation without ever having to work again. Okay. And you can start dreaming a little bit bigger at this stage. Do you want to add in a second home, a luxury car, maybe a boat? Do you want to go on a safari, right? These are the things that we're adding in at this stage, right? And then absolute financial freedom. And this is something that, when I did, the workshop with Tony Robbins, I was just like, I mean, I know people live this way, but man, like, how do you even begin to start wrapping your head around actually calculating that out right now? And this is where your investments generate cash flow to do what you want with whomever you want, whenever you want, without ever having to work again. All right. This is where people start adding in planes and buying sports franchises and, multiple businesses and maybe even their own private island. Okay. Now you can buy these things outright or you can rent them, right? You can buy a share of a plane, right? So it doesn't actually have to be an all and none thing. All right, so now let's start getting down into the numbers here. Now that we've defined those 5 milestones, where are you? Let's calculate where you're at. All right. So I want you, and the reason why it's important to understand where you're at. Sorry, I took those calculations out. So sorry, guys. All right. So let's back it up here and go back to the financial security phase. I want you guys to write down, go to the chat box, write down what it would take for you to cover, rent, mortgage, food, transportation, and insurance. Just that. Okay, on a monthly basis. Put in your monthly number. Okay, remember, this is only going to me. Nobody else can see it. Only I can see it. Okay, there's no judgment here. If you don't know, you need to go back. This is like step number one. You need to calculate this number. Okay. You guys take a moment. Let's see. 3,500, 10K, 8K. Okay. And there's no right or wrong answer. Okay. And, I've had people put in 17K a month, right? There's no wrong answer to this. It's all what it means to you. 15K. Okay. All right. So that's our monthly. Okay. So each one of you is going to have a different scale. Okay. You're going to have a different number for financial security. So for one person, I'm going to calculate it out here. For 3,500 a month, they need $42,000. For one person that has $15,000 a month, they need to cover. I will learn how to work a calculator here soon, guys. They need $180,000 to feel financially secure. All right. Then vitality, right? We're going to add on just a little bit of indulgence here, right? This is like if you lost your job and you had to cut clearly back on a ton of things. You could at least go to, maybe you're used to going out to eat 4 or 5 times a month. You can at least go out a couple times and hang with your friends, right? You're not feeling entirely deprived. But this is the next step here. All right. Start working on. So this number is financial security, monthly financial security, plus just a little bit of indulgence. So like, what would that look for you? What is that number? Drop that in the Q&A box or the chat box. Okay, so $1,000. So to add that to your monthly, then that would be $4,500. Okay. And Larry, I see you have your hand raised. If you would drop your question in, that'd be fantastic. We can answer it that way. Drop your question in the Q&A box and we can answer it that way. All right. All right, moving on to the next stage. Now, financial independence. All right. What is your current lifestyle right now? Okay. Not your income. Okay. What are your current expenses right now? And put that in what it would take monthly to cover. Okay. Don't adjust, don't add in anything. Just like what would it take monthly right now to cover? That is your next milestone. And when I work with people in one-on-one coaching, guys, we spend quite a bit of time. Like I'm really quickly moving you guys through this exercise, but these are the numbers that we need to like really kind of start with. All right. Anybody want to share what they need? Oh, let's see, 15K. Okay. Somebody for them to reach financial independence, they need 15,000 a month. Okay. That's really important because I'm going to show you why you need to, know this number. You guys put in more numbers as you have it. And if you don't know it, this is on your to-do list to get done. All right. And then if you want to start living into financial freedom, I actually think about do this. Calculate this financial freedom number. Like, what would you want? Like, what would you dream into? Do you want a second home? What would that cost? Like, do you want to add in a luxury car or boat or safari? When my husband and I did this, we found out that we were like, wow, we actually are living pretty close to what we would dream into as our financially free life when we did this several years ago. We didn't, buying a sports franchise and owning an island just weren't, in our purview. We didn't even, that wasn't even in our dream of ours, but we wanted to have a home, a second home, and maybe even a third home in very specific places. So we lived into that dream. And when we started actually putting pen to paper on how much that would cost additionally for us a month, we were shocked. Really, we always thought it would take hundreds of thousands of dollars for us to achieve that. It didn't. It didn't. All right. And then if you dare to dream, live into that absolute freedom number and write that down for yourself. Now, since I have a couple of, okay, I have 3 or 4 examples of financial independence numbers. I want to show you how this works because what we need to do is start understanding how do we start building a plan around this? Okay. So we can do this one of 2 ways, right? We can live into like taking, for example, we've got somebody who, for them to be financially independent, $5,500 a month times 12 months, that's $66,000. And then we add a cushion to it. I would do somewhere between, 15 to 20%. So they need to, a 20% cushion, they need to generate $79,200 a year from their passive investments. Okay. And then how do we do that? If we know that that is what they want to create, okay, annually, then they're going to invest, at 7%, then they need $1.1 million in order to kick that off. That's how much capital they need to get invested. And guys, what I did is I actually did this calculation that's on the screen in reversed. But say somebody has, if you want to, understand what your current portfolio could be generating for you, if you currently had say $2 million invested, and it was invested at an average rate of 7%, it should be kicking off. Sorry, guys. I am not able to work a calculator today. Should be kicking off about $140,000 a year. So here's some examples. $1.5 million at 6% is going to kick off $90,000 a year. And then 1.5 million invested at 10% is going to kick off 150K a year, okay, or 1,250 a month, right? I want you to kind of live through this because if we've got somebody that needs $15,000 to hit their financial independence goals, you're going to need probably a little over, depending on what rate of return your assets are returning, you're going to need, somewhere between 1.5 to $3 million invested. Okay. Now you have clarity. That's the key point here. You have clarity. All right. I want to leave a few minutes here for questions. To succeed, right? In order to really nail your goals for 2024, we have to have a clear target. You have to know your want, your why. What is that 5-year goal? How can we break it down to your 3-year goal? How can we break it down into our 2024 goals? Let's attach an emotion to it. Okay, why do you want to do this? Okay, and more ideally, one of those emotions around a freedom. What are you trying to achieve? What freedom are you trying to hit here? You have to have a defined plan. You have to know who you must become to get it. Okay, you have to know your mindset that you need to adopt. You have to know those skills. Okay. And then you have to know that the network that you need to be plugged into in order to get it. Right. And it doesn't have to be you. You don't have to bring everything. You can bring who's into your world. And then you have to understand your five numbers: the vitality number, the security number, or excuse me, security number, vitality number, independence number, financial freedom number, and then absolute freedom numbers. And then we have to make sure these align. Okay. And we walked you through that happiness formula exercise, and then also your non-negotiables. So as you're scaling your portfolio, I want you to have those two things in mind, right? One, are you violating any of your non-negotiables? Because if you are, that's a problem. Okay, we're not aligned. And then two is the income that's being kicked off. Are you using it to help you achieve some of those things that you wrote down in your happiness formula? Those experiences you want to have, the growth that you want to achieve, and the contribution. Now, we are going to dive into, in the future, talking about other things like adhering to our 7 wealth principles. We're going to start, with future boot camps moving forward. We're going to talk about vetting operators, markets, and deals. We're going to start getting very tactful. We're going to get into the hows, but it all builds off of this. Like, what is your base plan? Okay. So again, wrapping up with a few questions here. What are you going to set aside to invest in 2024? Okay. As you think through those 5 numbers, like how much to be on track for that 5-year goal of what you need, what do you need to invest in the first year to start making that happen? Think back to your why. Why is this a must that you have to get this done? Remember, attach that emotion to it. And then as you think of what that number it is that you're going to invest, what do you need to have in your world? Mindset, skills, and networks in order to achieve that. All right, guys, I wanted to leave the floor open with a few questions. My first question to you, as you guys are formulating yours, what was the big aha for you today? What did you take home? I want you to drop that in to the chat box, because knowledge is power, but we need to be able to overcome the forgetting curve and like assimilate this knowledge. One person said, how do you divide the cost of each level of freedom between net worth and cash flow? I don't decide to put it between net worth because I can't spend my net worth, right? I only think of this in terms of cash flow. So, and I think, maybe I would think of it in terms in here. Whoop, hold on. Where'd it go? Right here. So if we were to flip this on its head, you would take the current income that you needed to have. So like if you needed $15,000 a month for financial freedom or for financial independence, and your average investment rate was going to be 7%, then that would yield your current investment capital. That's how much capital you needed to get it, get invested. All right. I don't think of it in terms of net worth because sometimes your net worth is locked up in things like a primary residence. Okay. Primary residence, all that equity in your primary residence, guess what is rate of return? It's returning 0. Okay. That's why I stay away from net worth calculations like that. Okay, because not everything in our portfolio actually makes a return. Now, a home, primary home, it has value, right? It's providing a roof over your head. Maybe you're doing some other things with it, like Airbnb. Maybe it's your office. Maybe it's your kid's school. Maybe you just love it, right? Love where you live. But we can't just think just in absolute terms of like net worth. I think, largely in cash flow. What is our portfolio throwing off for us? One take home, chart it out, know the numbers, and dialogue with the family is key. Awesome. Another person, for me, planning is power. I have to overcome the financial crisis. Now I am ready to plan for my financial stability. Another question, what return percentage do you shoot for on these calculations? 10% seems low to me. Perhaps that is after taxes. So it depends. It all depends. if you're needing to live off the cash flow right now, today, 10% is pretty high, right? Unless you're going to be invested in like, you know, taking, some large risk on your investments potentially. But it is low in the overall scheme of things as far as the return on your portfolio. I would agree. So think about, this is where we are going to pick up our conversation starting in January when we start talking about goals, risk, and timeline as we get into investing, right? For somebody, that is, has like ample time to recover if they go into a really high risk investment, 10% may be too low for them. For somebody who's closer to retirement, maybe they're just needing to, have like a note investment that kicks off 6 to 8% and just call it a day, right? It's just preserving their capital and throwing off an income. So that really, classic real estate answer, it depends. What do I look for in a mentee? So somebody that I'm going to work with, if that's the question, desire and if they're coachable, right? And moreover, those are the things that I look for in a mentee. I mean, the first thing that I look for, I'm trying to figure out is if I can actually help them, right? Because, and I have to say, not all people who coach or mentor people actually take that into account, especially if it's a paid relationship. I want to make sure that I can actually help them with what they're doing. Because if I can't, then I'm just going to be of a disservice to them. But then past that, are they going to be coachable? Are they going to take to heart like the things that I am suggesting that they do? And then, are they going to take action? Um, so yeah, it's really a pretty simple relationship. I wouldn't say easy, but simple.